So May the 4th is coming up.
Yes.
The Smugglers Room anniversary.
Yes.
And over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of questions come in, and I picked out a few to talk about today.
Okay.
In honor of May the 4th, why don't we start with why Star Wars?
That's a good question. You know, it's a funny thing when someone who is not passionate or obsessed with Star Wars asks an obsessed fan why they are. The question often comes out as interest, confusion, and even sometimes judgmental. I often think about those diehard sports fans that adorn entire rooms with memorabilia of their favorite team. They have closets full of replica jerseys, t-shirts, socks, and even slippers. There seems to be no real curiosity about this behavior. It's commonplace for a sports fan to know the college their favorite player came from. And for really dedicated fans, they may even know the high school or the Pee-wee football team where it all started. So when someone asks me why you're a Star Wars fan, I wonder why it would be any more unusual than asking a sports nut why they love the game. Maybe it's the story. Perhaps it's the explosion of creativity and imagination that draws us in. Star Wars fans have so many reasons to be obsessed. For some, it's the magic of the Force. For others, like myself, it's the texture and the greeblies. How do you narrow down all that we love into a single answer? It's like asking a dedicated Bostonian why they love the Red Sox. It might just be an impossible question. I'm not sure any of us can answer.
Why don't we start with something a little easier?
Okay.
How did you become a Star Wars fan?
Oh, that's easy. It was my parents.
Oh, so I can blame them for all this nonsense.
Yeah, 100%. I've joked often that I was born in August of 1977, and Star Wars A New Hope came out in 1977 in May, but I was still technically in the theater. But my parents were the ones that introduced me to all of this. They're the ones that brought home those first toys that I can remember as a kid on Christmas, right? And I remember more Empire Strikes Back because at that point I was old enough to remember. And they had such excitement for it, and there was so much energy around it. For whatever reason, they loved it. And because they loved it, we loved it. And it was that stretching of your imagination and going out beyond it. My whole family since then has done Star Wars together. And I think those earliest memories of the toys is specifically where it started.
So what kind of collector are you?
I'm a strange collector. I don't know how else to say it. I changed what I collected. And actually, it's your fault that I did that. I think when I married you, we started collecting different things. You found unusual pieces out there. Some of them were toys, yeah. Some of them were kitchen utensils and things that we would use in our home. Mr. Potato Head. I mean, there were a lot of really strange things that you found, and it changed the way I collected. And it changed the type of things that I wanted to collect. Whether that was toys or artwork or props or replicas or things like that. Yeah.
You say replica props, but you claim not to be screen accurate. We get asked a lot why we don't make true replicas on the show.
Why don't we make true replicas? I've always been more of a fan of playing in the universe than replicating the universe. But that doesn't mean I don't have amazing respect for those that have spent years documenting and finding all the exact parts and pieces that were used on an original Han Solo DL-44 heavy blaster, and that they identified all the different variations of that blaster across 3, now 4 films, or the difference between lightsabers, or any of the other number of things that true replicators have been able to do. And it's amazing stuff. I just tend to gravitate more towards making something that looks like it could belong there. It's what I enjoy the most out of making.
So is there a true replica you've always wanted?
Yeah. The Graflex Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker lightsaber.
And why that one specifically?
Because in my opinion, it's perfect in every way. When I read years ago the story of how Roger Christian found Star Wars' version of Excalibur, it thrilled me. Here was a simple piece of camera equipment whose destiny was forever changed when a set decorator and prop maker entered a camera shop to find lenses for a futuristic set of binoculars. He asked the proprietor of the shop if he had any strange items or parts lying around. The man behind the counter points to a dust-covered box and says, "You can have a look through there if you want." Mr. Christian opens the box, and immediately he sees it. He knows without even touching the contents that he's found it. The question, what can we use for the lightsaber, has been answered. Now, did it go like that? Probably not exactly like that. But in my mind, and probably for many of you amazing Star Wars fans, it's pretty close to that. But that really isn't the question we are asking. We're trying to answer, why Star Wars? Now, I can't speak for all of us fans, because each of you will have to answer this question in your own way. But the story of the Graflex and the prop it became is what makes me a fan. It's the gateway drug to Star Wars for me. It's a real item that I can reach out and hold in my hand. It brings me to that galaxy far, far away, and it opens the door to all that is possible. In short, why do I love Star Wars? Because it's perfect.